Welcome to episode 32 of the Monsters of Geek podcast. I am your editor-in-chief of monstersofgeek.com. My name is Aaron, and with me today is the lone survivor. We got Survivor Series coming up Sunday, so I guess it's the lone surviving of Team Monsters of Geek. Andrew, just me and you versus the world tonight.
It is really more than just me and you because I've got my fire dark type Litten ready to go. I'm playing Pokemon Moon. Litten is a Pokemon. I'm sorry. I should have known that would fall on deaf ears. And I don't think it's actually dark type. I'm sorry. I ruined this.
All right, well, if all else fails, I can always throw all these Pop Funkos I bought at whatever enemy that we have. So Aaron throws Pop Funko. I've actually just to touch on that just a little bit. I've got to curtail my obsession with these little big-headed things. So I've only got a couple series. I actually completed my Turtle series the other day, and I'm working on my Ghostbuster series.
Oh yeah,
and yeah. So I'm working on it. Some of these things are pretty expensive. Almost completed my Ranger set, but then I looked and saw that the Red Rangers and the White Ranger Pop Funko is like $2,000 or whatever it is. It's actually like $150. That's like $2,000 for those things, though. So it's interesting. And I found out my Spider-Man was a bobblehead, and I really didn't like the bobbleheads, so I was a little bit disappointed. Now I should have read the box. Yeah, welcome to Monster. This is a great way to start off Pokemon and Pop Funko vinyl figures. This is you're in the right place when we're talking about that. Andrew, just me and you not, so we're just going to shoot the breeze. We're going to talk about some video games, obviously. We've had some news come out on Nintendo and a lot of system drops and everything else since the last time we met here on a video-centric podcast. And Andrew, let's talk about what we've been playing this week or what you've been watching. I know you just talked about Pokemon. What else have you been doing?
Actually, I have something pretty interesting to note about Pokemon because I've not been playing much this week in particular because I'm working on graduate school applications. So all my free time has gone to that this week. Although I have been playing the Skyrim remaster, which is fun. I never played it when it was on PS360, so that's been fun. But Pokemon's been pretty good so far. I've not gotten very far because of, like I said, graduate school applications. But one thing I've noticed, and it's pretty cool, that all Pokemon games have like done little side features that don't mean anything. But I think one of the things that is interesting, and I'm sure that we will talk about this in a second, but is that there's little to no utilization of the 3D on this 3DS game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think there's some 3D, like when you're using the Poke Finder, which is one of those useless little side things that you can do that isn't really very fun. But as far as main game, walking around, Pokemon battles, that kind of thing, you can push the 3D slider up, and at least on mine, maybe my 3D is messed up. I don't think so. Nothing happens. I've got a couple of theories as to why, but I was going to just mention that and see what you thought about it. That this, mainstay 3DS game uses no 3D, has no 3D or very little 3D.
Well, the last time we had a video game podcast, we talked to. Well, actually, it wasn't a video game podcast. It was actually a Nintendo Switch podcast. Is what it pretty much turned out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about some backwards compatibility. And I'm not going to tell Jared as far as obviously you're not going to get the physical disc or the cards and slide them in. But there was an opportunity I felt like to be able to port some of those as like downloadable games if there was any way to emulate those. And obviously with that, the 3D would go away. Stuff like, for example, I actually played with 3D on for Luigi's Mansion. I thought it was actually some pretty good 3D. I think the 3DS is one of the few devices that actually got 3D right in a certain way. Even though I still hate 3D, it was still, at least bearable and kind of fun to play with every so often. But that may be Nintendo saying, hey, we're going to start porting these games over, or maybe a lot of the ones that come out for the new 3DS that are going to utilize that processing power is something that we can use for the Switch as well. So it's interesting. I think that's, I think it's surprising. I mean, as much as they sold the 3D with that thing, it's surprising that possibly that this Pokemon game doesn't have any.
Yeah. So my theory on that, and it actually is being backed up by some rumors that are floating around out there from Eurogamer, I think, in Kotaku, I think Eurogamer was first, is that the third installment of Sun and Moon, which a friend of mine and I were hoping would be called Eclipse, but apparently it's going to be called Pokemon Stars, is going to be a Nintendo Switch. I think it said launch title. And if not launch title, then it's going to be on the Switch, which is a pretty big deal. And since that's not going to have any 3DS capabilities, it sure makes a whole heck of a lot of sense that they wouldn't have bothered with the with doing it on Sun and Moon. For one thing it allowed them to do is use the power of the new 3DS in particular to make the graphics on Sun and Moon better than you would have been able to if you had to use space on 3D pictures. So there's a lot of reasons I think why that's probably the case, but I would say the big one is they knew ahead of time, hey, the third one's going on the Switch, so we need to go ahead and get ready for that by not doing 3D on Sun and Moon on the originals.
Do you think we'll start seeing, like, for example, something like, like Fire Emblem, who's been, probably predominantly on 3DS, at least for this cycle? Do you think you'll start seeing, because they had like 2 versions this time, do you think that we'll start seeing like kind of like an old school Game Boy feel? We have one version for the Switch and then one version for the new 3DS, or do you think they're kind of heading that way? But I'm talking about backwards compatibility, but just having, hey, let's develop this game here and then use what we got here to make it look prettier and better for the Switch.
No, I think the 3DS will die out.
Okay.
I think the Switch is going to replace both the Wii U and the 3DS. Now, production for the 3DS won't quit as early as Wii U's already quit production, but that's because it's terrible. The 3DS still has a market; it's still selling, so it will take longer, I think, to phase that one out. Much like it takes longer for PS360 generation consoles to phase out, just because they're still selling, but slowly but surely you'll see less and less games for it, and eventually it'll just die out. I think the Switch is designed, its entire purpose is to replace both Nintendo Portable and home console.
We talked about it before. About 3 years ago, I guess they brought the portable and the home together in one division. Everybody kind of scratched their head because the 3DS was, let's just be quite honest, the 3DS is the most popular system Nintendo's had, at least hardware wise. It's sold a lot. The games are good on it. The Wii U's a failure. The Wii ended up puttering out. So you could say the 3DS was probably the most successful system for the Nintendo the past 10 years, I guess. Well, the Wii was super successful, just kind of died off. But as far as something being, I guess more stable, I guess the 3DS handheld has been pretty stable for them.
And the Wii's 10 years old now, so it's almost outside that window.
And you could tell, like, I could tell when I had my 3DS, the graphics are good, but not as good as some, even the Vita, I think, obviously a much more powerful platform, you could tell, going from the 3DS to the Vita, but still really good. There's some really good games.
I don't know. I think Pokemon is probably a prettier game than anything I've played on Vita.
With the new 3DS.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about the old. I didn't have the 3DS.
Yeah.
I had the old 3DS.
All right, I got you.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. When this broke, I actually texted you, and the only thing that could go around, we talked about Final Fantasy VII being like the break glass in case of emergency for Square Enix. Do you think this is the case for Nintendo, that they know this is their last hurrah as a hardware if it doesn't go? Do you think this is the break glass moment for Nintendo?
I don't know. They're a stubborn group, those Nintendo execs. So I don't know. I think they are certainly trying to put their best foot forward, and it sure sounds like they're doing that in this case. To me, really, the break glass in case of emergency Final Fantasy VII remake level thing would be home console Pokemon, which is kind of what we're rumored to be getting, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I guess kind of, but I don't know if it's. I think it's just coincidence, not luck. It's not by design that you're getting a home console Pokemon. Again, if that rumor is true, it's just we're making a Pokemon, we're putting it on Nintendo because we've always put it on Nintendo and they have the best portable systems. So now it's going to be on home console because they're the same.
Right.
And ultimately, this is up to Game Freak and not Nintendo anyway.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's just interesting. That was the last thing that I thought would get into the news cycle. Would be a Pokemon console game. And we've talked about it for years. And of course, we've got spinoffs. The great Pokemon Snap. It's still one of my favorite games for the N64. You could laugh at me. It doesn't matter. That game was stinking awesome. It was really cool. Then you had the Pokemon stadiums and stuff like that. That were spinoffs, puzzle games and stuff. But nobody ever got a true Pokemon console game. I mean, the only other thing that they got in their back pocket is like a Pokemon MMO, which I don't know if we'll ever see, but that's their next cash cow. Because if you could bring Pokemon in MMO, I don't know if we'd see any Pokemon fan ever again. As far as that goes, but it's just interesting. I think Nintendo is really throwing it out there and really getting everybody stoked for the Switch. And do you think this was one of the reasons they pushed it back to March? That they were like, we're not going to put it out Christmas. Do you think it was a possibility? And then I was like, well, let's give it a little extra time. If it doesn't come out, it doesn't come out. But we want to give Game Freak a little bit more time to finish this and see if it's possible.
I mean, okay, so you want to get full on crackpot conspiracy theory on you? Because
we're
I can
all about,
do that.
Baby, Crackpot Podcast.
Crackpot conspiracy theory. So here's my 100 or not 100%, but I kind of believe it might be true, but I don't think it is. And obviously I have no sourcing to say that it is because I have no sourcing, period. Theory on what's going on with the Switch and partially why it's been moved to March. Did they give an actual release date? They did, didn't they?
No, they just said March.
No, March, okay.
Which gives them room to scoot it back if they have to.
Sure, yeah. So here's my theory, okay? So they did that in part for Pokemon because you didn't want to step on the 3DS release. They did it in part for, I was going to say Zelda, but really they moved Zelda for the Switch, I think, because I think Zelda would be ready. Zelda is could have been ready now, although we haven't heard anything about it going gold, so I don't know if that's completely true or not. I would hope it wouldn't go gold this far ahead of time. That would not be a good look for Nintendo. But anyway, it sure seems like they're pushing a lot of stuff back, right? No new Mario ever really for the Wii U. You can count New Mario World if you want to. It was good. It was not a Galaxy level Mario game to me. And of course, we saw the Mario footage on the Switch. So it just kind of makes you think they're pushing all this back so that they can hit the ground running with a big launch window. Another piece of big news that happened this week, or big news to me and Daniel anyway.
Hey, me too. I'm stoked.
Well, you do like Persona. Okay. This Persona 5 got delayed from Valentine's Day, which is an odd time to release a game anyway, although Japanese people might not celebrate Valentine's Day. I don't know how that works.
Japanese people do not love each other.
Well, they have a different day, right? Like some other
do they?
Valentine's Day.
Sorry,
I think it's like white. Racist as it sounds, I think it's called like White Day and Black Day or something. And one's when the girls buy the guy something, and then the reverse is when the guy buys the girl something. You can look that up if you want to.
It's Sadie Hawkins Day.
Yeah, something like that. The good news is I'm pretty sure, however that works, the girls buying for the guy holiday comes first, which takes all the pressure off of the guy because he just has to do a little bit better than she did a month ago. But anyway, so Persona 5 got delayed from Valentine's Day to April 2nd. And my crackpot conspiracy theory is that Persona 5, to my knowledge, or Persona in general, is not a Sony exclusive. It's not a paid Sony exclusive. It just so happened to be exclusive because that's what Atlas decided to do. That being the case, knowing that Atlas has released other Persona games on Nintendo consoles, like Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth, for example, and there are some more that I'm not thinking of right now.
Isn't FE a Persona game? Or is that different? I'm sorry.
FE?
Yeah, that new one they just put out on the Wii U?
It might be. I don't know if it's Persona. It might be Atlas.
It might be... what's the other one, Tensei?
I don't know.
That's
Shin Megami Tensei. Yeah, that's a very good example.
Yeah.
The Shin Megami Tensei main series, Persona, is a spin-off of that. Sometimes it sounds like I have a stuttering
Tokyo
problem.
Mirage Sessions.
That one, there you go. But I
Yeah.
really just struggle with words sometimes. Anyway, so the Persona series is a spinoff of the Shin Megami Tensei series, which is on 3DS, right?
Right.
So anyway, all that to say that my crackpot conspiracy theory for why Persona 5 was delayed is that it is also coming to Switch, and it just took them a little bit to get that worked out. And if that's the case, then that's awesome because that means Persona 5 is once again portable, and I will actually get to beat it.
That's when you was talking about that. That's the first thing that because let's just be quite honest. Like Persona games are weird. Like they are entrenched in weirdness. That's what makes them great. But there are some parts in that game that we've talked about is a little bit uncomfortable. In certain sections of those games, because obviously we know Japanese, as far as JRPGs, they can get a bit weird in spots. So even though I'm super stoked for Persona 5, I don't know how I would feel about playing Persona 5 in front of my wife or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which and it's not a terrible game by any stretch, but it does have some weird parts where I was playing Tales of Vesteria, I think or Zesteria, I'm sorry. And even that is a mild J. I mean, it's a JRPG, obviously, but it's not as upfront and embarrassing as say like Persona is at times, or just uncomfortable at times. And even my wife still kind of looks at me with like a cocked, face and is like, what is this, because their humor is weird and some of the character models are weird and all that good stuff. So I would love to have Persona 5 portable, and that's how I'm playing on my Vita, and I love it. Even though when I first started playing it, I was on a flight, and the very first part they play that commercial there in the first part of the game. No spoilers here. It's just the opening credit or the opening part. It's like a soda commercial or something, and I'm sitting there next to an older woman, and and this anime girl pops up in her bikini or whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of embarrassing, so I gotta bring it back a little bit, just to be like, oh, that's kind of weird. I expected that, but this woman next to me may not expected that. So there's some spots that in Persona 5, and it looks great. Like that game from every from obviously Persona is known for their stylistic menus and just the style in general, but and great, just regular kind of great turn-based Japanese RPG play. But Persona 5 looks weird. It looks maybe weirder than what Persona 4 is. So for that to be portable, I think it has a home in a portable realm.
Yeah, it certainly. I don't know. I just like my JRPGs as a portable these days, or really just RPGs in general. Like I can't imagine how much further
That's why
into
I had to buy my Vita
Skyrim.
card.
Yeah, I can't imagine how much further into Skyrim I would be if I could play it on Vita. Although Vita can never run it. But anyway, that's my crazy theory: is that it was delayed so that it could be launched simultaneously in America. It's already out in Japan, I think, simultaneously on Switch and PS4. And that could be completely wrong. Again, I have no sourcing for it, and there's no precedent for it, so it sounds really crazy. But I'm going to believe my crazy crackpot theory because sometimes you just have to.
Yeah, when you said that, it makes sense. And maybe they was waiting to see how close the Switch's tech was to say like a PS4 and Xbox One. Because let's just be quite honest, that's how developers decide if they're going to have to completely do something completely different with the. That's what happened to Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn was so hard to program for. Nobody wanted to program for it. They didn't want to bring the big games to it because it was too hard. Same thing here. I think if somebody has to do a completely different system, completely different hardware, completely different DNA with the system, they do it. And we saw that with the Wii U to a certain extent, that they did not want to do that. So I agree, Andrew. I mean, it seems to be pointing that way. And like I said, maybe they were just waiting to see how close the hardware was to see if it was even possible.
It could be. I mean, there's probably only like a 5% chance that could be what's going on. But if it's to me, the other questionable thing about it is that um, if it's already out in Japan, is it translating? I mean, I know translating's hard. I'm not trying to belittle it, but it sure seems like that's a lot of extra time just to translate. So, I mean, it could be. I don't know. I don't do that stuff.
Well, you got to think that, even though it's hard to translate, they knew this was going to be released stateside. So you would have to think that they had, some, and look, I don't know how translation works. I don't know how they do that, but I do know that, if you have a script or if you know the lines, that as far as the translation goes, they knew it was coming for the States. So you think the translation, even during the whole process of that, the translation of that script or whatever else, I mean, it could
Yeah,
very
I
well
mean,
have been.
maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to poo on the Atlas localization team too much because they're
No, because
so
they're
good
awesome.
at it.
Yeah, that takes a lot of work. We're not taking anything away,
Yeah.
but if you trying to make sense of the pushback, I feel like because if you knew it was in the States, their localization team probably had somewhat of a head start. They already knew it was going to be in the States. It's not something that's later on. Maybe I don't know how translation works, but to push it back all of a sudden, I'm like with you, has to be a reason.
I
Like,
mean,
especially since it's pretty much done to a certain extent.
right. Yeah, I mean, it was pushed back once by the or just for localization, right? Because when they were first announced, they were supposed to release simultaneously Japan and
Yep.
America or the rest of the world, I guess. But it didn't happen, and it was because of localization. So it could just be that it's going to take longer to localize, and that's just it. But I choose to believe it's coming to the Switch, and you can't stop me.
That would be huge. We talk about how the Switch has to come out, and that's why Nintendo pushed it. One of the reasons they pushed it back to March was because they did want a good launch date and also launch window of games. Something that we talked about the last podcast hasn't really materialized for Nintendo over the last especially with the Wii U. Maybe in the Wii had a lot of games, but all the shovelware. Welcome to the show, Joe Yeti. What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
So, Joe, we talked about Persona 5 possibly coming to the Switch. We talked about the new Pokemon game coming to the Switch. Does that excite you any?
No.
Joe, what you been playing this week, man?
Civ 6.
Yeah,
Nope.
Civ 6.
I haven't got it yet. I'm waiting on my paycheck. On probably Tuesdays when I'll get it. I did play some Civ 5. And I've been playing a lot of 2K17 wrestling, and I've been playing Madden a couple days, past 2 days, because my little cousin's been down here playing with me.
Talk about different sides of the spectrum, going from Civ 5 to WB 2K617. Those are two opposite sides of the spectrum for Joe.
So I did get beaten Madden once.
By Sam?
Yep.
Nice.
He was the Panthers. I was the Cowboys. He beat me by 2 points off a horrible no pass interference call. Drove down, scored a touchdown, 1 second left. Went to go with the 2-point conversion, and his middle linebacker basically tackled my receiver before the ball got to him.
What you didn't know was he put in the cheat code for blitz rules right before that 2-point conversion.
I told him he paid. I told him he paid off the referee somehow, but. And then
Joe, just for reference, Joe doesn't take defeats very well.
No,
believe me, I beat him enough to know.
No, mom was like, "Why was you screaming?" And I was like, "Because no pass interference." So he's like, "I'm gonna pick the Steelers." I was like, "Okay." So I picked Oakland. Big Ben had like 6 interceptions in like the first half, and I was up 42 to something, and I was up so bad he put his kicker in at quarterback. So I figured.
Oh no, we lost Joe.
Sebastian Jankowski.
Okay, there you go.
No.
Okay.
But then I beat him. He was the Panthers again tonight, and I beat him again. I can't remember who I was. Who was I? Can't remember who I was. And then he almost beat me with the Cardinals, and I came back from 21 down and beat him in the fourth quarter. So it's good games. I like being challenged.
2.
Yeah.
Whew.
He's a toddler.
Brutal.
He's 16. I think what makes it so hard is I think the difficulty level is down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm used to playing on all Madden, and it just seems like it's harder for some reason when you put the difficulty down.
Well, it allows for more bull crap.
That's true.
So a lesser skill player, yeah.
Linebackers jumping 10 feet in the air and stuff like that. So no Civ 6 yet. Like
No.
I mean, on a meter to like 1 to 10, like how excited are you to finally get Civ 6 once that paycheck comes around?
I'm pretty excited. Like I'm probably.
No,
an 11.
I want a number. 1 to 10.
Probably an 11, maybe a 15.
Okay.
Like It stinks that I have to wait, but if I get it Wednesday, that means I can stay up all night and play it, and then sleep till Thanksgiving dinner.
Sleep till Thanksgiving. That's what most Civ players do. They sleep till Thanksgiving after nights to play. So
it's like I went. Sorry for the buzzing noise.
Okay, I was about to say I thought I was being attacked by. I was in Starship Troopers there for a
Oh,
second.
mom's washing clothes, and I forgot to turn it off. But I went just to G2K yesterday to see if they they have the paid Steam cards, so you can buy the games from them and then download them. And they didn't have one for Civ 6.
Well, I bet GameStop does
I went to GameStop. That's where I went, GameStop. But I'll just bat off of Steam coming.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope you get it soon because as a PC elitist, I don't want you to fall down like a Duke or something like that.
I know, right? I mean, that really is. That and Skyrim are the only two games that I really play on there. So, and I've not played Skyrim in God knows how long.
Are you gonna get it for the console, the re-release?
No, because I do believe if we have it on the computer, they're giving you the HD for free.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah. At least that's what I read. So.
All right, man. So what I have been playing, the first one intrigued me, but it didn't get good enough reviews for me as far as from what I read about it, so I didn't, buy it. But Target was having a buy two get one free sale, so that was one of the ones that I bought, and it's neat. It can be a little bit repetitive, obviously because it's Dragon Ball Z and all they do is fight. So this is the first one that, me and Jared always talk about, a good brawler ever so often and how that, kind of genres kind of went away a little bit. It does feel good just to have a good, smooth brawler. It doesn't take a lot of brain power to play this game. It's just kind of you sit down, you go into this big map, and you kind of get to choose where you want to go and do what you want to do. You can choose who you want to get trained by. You get to choose between like 5 character types: human, obviously Saiyan, whatever Piccolo is, Boo class. What was it, Andrew?
Namekian or something like that. He's from Namek.
Yeah, Namek. I believe it's Namek type, I guess I should say. And then you got Frieza top and Boo top. And you get to choose. You get to choose your character, and you get to design your character around those tops. And obviously, human has a lot of endurance or whatever, but isn't super powerful with their basic attacks. And obviously, the Frieza's super, super fast, but doesn't have a lot of stamina. Let's see, what was it? Saiyans are super strong, but you have to build up their stamina and all this stuff. So you gotta kind of pick. I just picked a regular human. I got a big blonde mohawk with a goatee. I'm super short, and I've got I'm orange and white kind of jumpsuit. You're part of the time patrol, and so basically the game you have to go back into time and fix anomalies. So the timeline's fixed, and then you got side quests and stuff that you can do too. But it's fun. The combo system's really cool. It does really feel like you're playing a Dragon Ball Z episode. It looks like a Dragon Ball Z episode. So yeah, it's cool. I'm not too far into it because really the tutorial is a little bit long. But once you get out of that, you get to kind of go. It's a little annoying inside the city. You can fly around when you go into a mission, which is really cool. But in the city, you gotta get a flyer's license, and until then, you either have to walk or they give you this little vehicle that's slower than you are when you walk. So it's not very cool. I mean, it just takes a while to get places, but it's cool. You can get your flying license and then fly around the city or whatever. But it's a neat game. It's intriguing. I think it's always good when you get a good license game with characters that you really like, and know and kind of love. But I think the authenticity of that game is really cool. So as far as that goes, but yeah, it feels like a Dragon Ball Z episode. And it's cool and. Storyline's pretty cool too, so I definitely recommend it so far anyway. So as far as what we're going to talk about tonight, as far as whatever, we're just going to shoot the breeze a little bit. Joe, is there anything in the news that you kind of looked at and saw? Anything that kind of jumped out at you?
Yeah, the price drop on the PS4 for the holiday season.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about some Black Friday deals. Is there any Black Friday deals, Joe? You said that one. Nintendo's doing a Black Friday deal. We can get a new 3DS for like $100.
Yeah.
You get to choose between a black and a white one.
The
So
black looks
that's
pretty
a good deal.
cool. I like that black one.
Yeah, black one looked pretty cool actually. Andrew, was there any that kind of jumped out at you that you saw?
Yeah, I've really. I had sworn off buying anything else game wise this year because I was like, all I need is Skyrim, and that'll take me to Persona 5, and that'll take me until I don't know, forever. And so I was just kind of had decided I wasn't going to buy anything else. And then Gravity Rush, well, other than Gravity Rush 2, but then Gravity Rush 2 got delayed. And so I don't know. I'm still thinking I'm just going to hold off and play Skyrim when I do have time, and then in the meantime I'll focus on or wait on Last Guardian. But I probably won't pick up anything on Black Friday unless Amazon surprises me with something.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping Amazon has some good deals because I'd like to get Dishonored 2.
Yeah, I know that Sony just released a flash sale on Thanksgiving for PlayStation 3, 4, 3, and Vita. And one of the things when I got some birthday money, I actually kind of went and got a bunch of PlayStation money. So I could, just like this weekend, they had the $2 place, or they've been having like a 10th anniversary for downloadable for the store or whatever. And there was a bunch of PS1 RPGs for like $2. So I loaded up on that. So much so, as we said, me and Andrew was talking about, I actually had to fill up my Vita. I actually had to buy a new Vita card, which, if you know the price of those things, is not an easy decision to come to. But I'd filled up my 16 gig, and I went to buy Final Fantasy 7 because I wanted it on my Vita, and it was like, nope, you don't have enough room. So I had to. It was like $2.
It's pretty crazy that game is like a gig, and it's.
I know. I looked at it, I was like, holy crap,
old.
it was like a gig and a half or something.
I mean, it was on, 4 discs?
That's true.
Yeah, it's huge.
So back then it was pretty big. What was I going to say? I can't remember now.
But the flash sales, they're going to have a bunch of sales, and I think you get 10% off your whole purchase or something too, or whatever. So if you want to download some stuff, I'll only download on my Vita because the one thing about the 3DS I wish I would have done was just download stuff, so I don't have to carry around stuff. So that's basically what I do with my Vita. So I'm pretty stoked about that sale.
That means you need to go get Red Dead Redemption, or not Redemption, but Revolver. So you can
I think it may still be on sale. It's like $7, so I may have to go get that. But I'm also trying to decide between Dragon Quest Builders and Odin Spear for the Vita. That was going to be one of my big time purchases, but I haven't decided which one I want yet.
Like if I get tired of the just the same gameplay in 2K17 or Madden, like I'll go play Red Dead Revolver to kind of break it up because it's just a fun little it's almost like an arcade tap shooter. I mean, you would really enjoy it.
Andrew, I'm kind of the same way. I don't know if I'll purchase anything. Like I'm not a big Black Friday guy anyway. I think me and Joe went one time to Black Friday, and it was after everything kind of cleared away. What was that? About 2:00 in the morning. One of the local Walmarts.
It was midnight.
Yeah, and it was. We still found some pretty decent games for some pretty good prices, but that was still there. I just don't get in that mess. But I'm like you. I don't know what other games that I'm looking to get. I mean, Final Fantasy 15 and Last Guardian is probably the last two of this year, obviously. But I have so many games that I might just wait on them because I have a huge backlog at this point on my PS4, which wasn't the case, a year ago. So they're actually starting to come out with some really good games that I want to play. So I don't know. I don't think I'll pick up any. There's actually nothing out that I haven't already picked up that I wanted, whether it be using credits at my local game store or something. So, or waiting for like the 2-for-1 sale or buy 2 get 1 free sale. But I'm like you. I think I'll just wait and kind of see, what other games that I want. Speaking of which, here's a question for you guys that I've been thinking about. Speaking of backlogs, and any good gamer has a backlog as far as that goes. There's just too many games coming out at one time, usually all near the same time, usually is how it goes. When it comes to finishing games, do you guys, when you start a game, do you guys feel compelled to finish it even if you don't like it? Or are you one of those things you can kind of set back and be like, I don't like it. I'm going to go sell it or trade in or whatever. Or do you feel compelled? I bought it. I want to beat this thing.
Man, I think you know my answer.
What about you, Andrew?
Well, I mean, the listeners don't know your answer.
Well, I think we've made fun of him for it enough. But go ahead, Joe.
And like, I'll enjoy a game, and if it's especially long game, like I'll go trade it in for another game that I want to play, that I know that's shorter, and then like beat that game, trade that game in back for the especially long game. I've done it with The Witcher. I've done it with Dragon Age Inquisition. So, like, I don't mind picking those games back up. Sometimes you just get tired of them because you're so long that you have to have something in between. And I don't really want to spend the full amount on a game. But I have games that can still trade in for a good amount of money. So,
what was the last game you finished, Joe?
Let's see. I did finish the Dishonored Definitive Pack when that came out. And that was, when was that?
That wasn't too long ago, was it? Wasn't that back in October or September, maybe?
Maybe back in August or September. So I picked it up and played through that and expansion pack, which is probably one of my favorite games still.
Andrew, what about you, man? Do you feel compelled to finish games as far as you buy it, you're going to finish it whether you like it or not, or are you open to be like, oh, maybe I didn't like this game as much as I thought I would?
No, I don't feel that compulsion. Although it's interesting now that you bring that up. There is a point where if I play to a certain point in the game, I'm like, I should just go ahead and finish it. I'm so close. And it might take me a year to come back to it, but I will probably finish it up. I'm trying to think of an example right now, and I can't really, but I guess the best example is a game like Destiny that I've been hooked on for the better part of, or for over 2 years, basically. And I quit it again a few weeks ago just because the new expansion had gotten stale again. But there are a few things, because I've sunk so much time into it, I've beaten almost everything. I've done almost everything. But there are a few things still hanging around out there that since I quit, I haven't finished. And I'm like, I do need to go back and finish those at some point. And I probably will. But no, I don't feel that compulsion automatically. But if there's a threshold I cross in any game where I'm just like, I should go ahead. I'm this close. I might as well.
Like, I enjoy games like The Witcher and even Skyrim to this point. I mean, how long has Skyrim been out? Been, what, 3 years now? 4 years?
The original Skyrim came out in 2011.
2011, so 5 years. So
11.
Yeah, so, I mean, I still go back and play that game. I like the playability because there's always something to do. I mean, I don't think in this last one that I started, of course, I beat it when it first came out, just played it straight through. But in the last one I started, I've not even completed maybe 10% of the storyline, if that. And I've had over like 100 hours playing it. So I like games like that where you can just come back and play. They have all that playability.
But do you find that's hard to do with certain games? Like for me personally, like especially like we talked about JRPGs and how you probably unless you can write down where you're at, where you can remember. Like with Tales of Zestiria, I like Tales of Zestiria, and it's a great game for me. It's a goofy JRPG, but I like it. But I'm thinking about going back. I'm about 12 hours into it. I think it game's like 40 hours. If I can remember where I'm at, is there a certain part in the game where you're just like, okay, I won't have to make a decision here. Do I like it or do I don't like it? Because if I put this down, I'll probably forget where I'm at. Do you guys have any, as far as that goes? Like, is there any point where you're just like, I'm going to either trade this in or get rid of it, or I like it, but, RPGs are hard to figure out where you're going next, unless you go on the net or something.
I usually just keep them and swear I'll come back, and then I do or don't.
My issue is I don't forget where I am, but I forget sometimes the controller scheme. Like I have to learn the controls all over again.
Yes, I picked up something the other day and was just totally befuddled by the controller. And I played it before. I played for a pretty good while, and I was totally befuddled by the controllers. I thought, holy crap! I just played this like a week ago, and I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
Do you guys, when it comes to controls, do you have to have the controller in your hand to tell people how to play?
It's according to what it is.
Okay. I have this,
Like-
I guess it's muscle memory or something, but like if somebody's like, oh, I don't know the buttons to this, and I say, well, let me have the controller and I can tell them where, what the control. But if you ask me without the controller, I'm like, I don't know. Let me have the controller. It's like
Yeah,
the controller is
actually-
this mystical thing that feeds me energy.
I had that experience last weekend. My nephews were over, and the three of us and my wife decided to play Mario Kart. And on the Wii U, because it was Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, there are a ton of different ways to control it. Right? You have the gamepad, you have the Pro controller, which I have one of, and then you can use the Wii remotes, and you can also use the classic controllers that plug into the Wii remotes from the Wii days, if you recall. And that's what we were doing. We had myself using the gamepad, one of my nephews using the Pro controller, one of my nephews using just the old school or the classic Wii remote and steering with the tilt controls because he thinks that's better. And then my wife was using the classic controller that plugs into the remote, and they were all asking me how to go, and I'm like, I don't know. Once we start, I can tell you, but I don't know until then. Like, I'm just sitting here. Oh, how do you use items? I don't know. Push a button.
I don't know. Figure it out, okay?
And they're like, you're just trying to cheat. No, I just don't know.
No, I just don't know. I promise. I don't know.
I was playing somebody at work the other day in a game of Madden, like 15 or something, 25, whatever it is. But and it was on PlayStation, and they was used to Xbox. And how long has it been since I've even had an Xbox?
It's been years at this point.
And like, I don't know how, but I could remember exactly all the buttons and what they done on an Xbox. And like, I guess where it's Madden, it's a little easier to remember. But I mean, the fact that I knew like the controller scheme of the Xbox, because I haven't played one in probably 10 years.
Yeah, I was just. I mean, that's the. You bring up a good point. I even also like Super Nintendo, which is a very, I guess, simpler controller compared to what we got now. I sometimes still have to take the controller and be like, okay, I got to remember what A does and B or X and Y and whatever. That has to be done. So, speaking of multiplayer games, we haven't really talked about this, and this is a good subject to throw out there. What's some of your favorite multiplayer games? As far as it could, let's say non-sports multiplayer games. So this could be shooters, brawlers, whatever. Andrew, what's some of your favorite multiplayer games? Non-sports games.
Well, Mario Kart is a good one. I got into, for whatever stupid reason, I got into the Mario Kart Wii online play there for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you do in that?
Okay, I'm pretty good at Mario Kart, so I did all right. Considering I had like dial-up connection. No, not dial-up. I'm kidding. But, not good. Not really very good connection. Destiny, of course, I played that forever, so that's a easy one, and I've done both the co-op and the PvP portions of that game at this point. That's really the first game that I got really into the PvP around this time last year. No, that's not true. It was July and August of this past year where I just really got into it, and I cared about my kill-death ratio, and I got really into it, and still sucked. But that's a different story, I guess. Sometimes I could actually get over 1 KD, and other times I couldn't. And Rocket League. Rocket League is a great multiplayer game.
Joe, what about you, man?
Well, Civ.
Yep.
And probably one of the funnest that I've had fun playing was Battle for Middle-earth 2. We used to play that all the time in high school.
Which that game has got super rare and super expensive online.
Yeah.
Because I guess Joe, because EA lost the license.
Yeah, they lost the license for it.
That game's super expensive now.
I mean, technically, you can't play it online anymore. You can still find servers if you can find them before they get shut down to play online. I really enjoyed like the X-Men Legends and like the Ultimate Alliances, stuff like that. I thought those were really fun games. Trying to think. Of course, I like the first Halo. And I was trying to think of anything else here.
Did we all were we all Halo players? Adrian, was you a big Halo guy?
I played a little bit, but not a lot.
I just wonder which. I mean, I think Halo 3. I didn't play the main story of Halo 3, but I thought Halo 3's multiplayer is probably the best out of the series. I haven't played 4 and 5 or whatever because I don't have an Xbox, but I always thought Halo 3 did it the best. Do you think that's the case, Joe? Do you think that 1 was better?
I enjoyed the gameplay on 1, just because it didn't have the overpowered sword in it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
that's why I liked 1. But I mean,
came in 2, right?
2 is when it started coming in. Yeah, when it came into play. But as far as like game control and smoothness and stuff like that, 3 was overall a better product, of course. And when you get that many people on a server, or if you're landing, it ran a little bit smoother.
Some of mine is Super Dodgeball, obviously for the NES. I think me and Joe had logged in so many hours on that game because it's such a weird game, man. You go back and play it now, and it's obviously it's dodgeball. So everybody loves dodgeball, but the character models and everything else, it's just a weird game. When you hit that one super move that knocks them from one side of the screen all the way to the other, and you fall back on your side, that's maybe one of my best gaming memories ever is when we used to hit those. We used to go nuts because it was kind of hard to hit. Like super shots wasn't hard to do, but it's hard to hit that shot. Like you had to hit it spot on to get that effect, which back in the 8-bit days was a pretty cool effect, knocking them from one side of the screen to the other. It was pretty cool.
The only thing that was kind of morbid about that game is when they went out, or when you won, like they turned into little angels and like floated.
Yeah, they died for some reason. They just went away. It was really, because it's just a weird game, man. I mean, it was fun, but it was weird. It was the 8-bits.
You always had to have that kid on the USA team that could turn into Guile from Street Fighter. His ball would be like a sonic boom.
I like the. I know we talk about Turtles in Time, and maybe one of the greatest games on the Super Nintendo. But Sunset Riders were really good too. That was the one game that kind of fell graphically from the arcade a little bit. I feel like Turtles in Time didn't fall that far off from the arcade graphics. I thought they did a really good job getting down to 16-bit. That game isn't as pretty as as Turtles in Time, but it is a really good multiplayer game. If you've never played Sunset Riders, go buy it or something. Don't emulate it, but go buy it. You get it for like $60 now, which I know is a lot for an old game, but you would definitely, have a good time playing it. Yeah, just something that came across my mind. We haven't really talked about some of our favorite. I mean, we talked about NCAA football and stuff, but that's a given. But I thought maybe
my Nintendo fanboy card would be revoked if I did not mention Smash Brothers as well.
Yes,
that's true. Smash Brothers. I'm not good at fighting games, but man, there's 2 games that I really like, and I suck at them. But I guess it's just the way that they're the visuals and stuff. One is Smash Brothers, and because you can get so many people on the screen, and 2 is Marvel vs. Capcom games. Suck at both of them. I'm not very good at it. I would show up at a tournament, be kind of laughed at, and rotten fruit thrown at me. But I always thought those games were really kind of wacky and crazy, and just a fun kind of. It doesn't matter if you suck because you usually had fun whether or not you won or not.
You got to throw in GoldenEye and Rampage.
What was the last one?
Rampage.
Oh, for the 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was really good. I remember playing that one. Yeah.
That was fun. And then there was another one that we used to play all the time too. I think the name kind of evaded me there for a second.
Of course, all the wrestling games on the N64.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Even though when you got 4 people in there, the frame rate was like molasses on that system, but it was still fun.
Twisted Metal 2.
Twisted Metal. Andrew, did you ever play Twisted Metal 2?
No, I did not.
Oh, that was a great one. We spent so. Except that was only that was before the multi-tap, and I feel that game was kind of. I don't think you could use. I don't think you could use a multi-tap on that one.
Are you sure? Because we used to play a lot of people on there.
No, we would only play 2. Remember, you could put the computer on there.
I swear, I thought we played 4 people on there.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You guys should fight about it.
We should find it and play it. See what we should do.
I actually have it here, so it's here. I have it in my collection. I think Joe was with me when I found it.
I did.
And we about went nuts. So because we've been looking for it for a while, but yeah, good game. Twisted Metal 2 is awesome. I think I want to say that is on the PlayStation Store too.
It was, yeah.
So you'll go pick that up if you've never played it. I don't know how well it holds up, but
It's a fun game. I say it holds up well and fine.
We play a lot of NASCAR too, but
NASCAR 98 with the paintball cheat.
Paintball cheat, yeah.
Only reason why we played it. Yeah, only reason why we played it. Yeah. Even though it was a fun game, like I have to admit, playing the career mode in that game was kind of fun. I know it's racing, and you're racing like 300 laps, but it was intense because you had to learn how to pit, and you had to learn when to pit, and
you had to stay in the groove.
Yep.
I mean, it was kind of an education on how to be a NASCAR driver. I mean, not really, but
we even played without it sometimes, without the paintball cheat, because it was kind of fun to race in.
Yeah, the only thing that sucked when you played multiple players, though, you could only play 8 cars or something for some reason. Like you couldn't play the whole field.
Well, that's because I doubt that you could have 32 people on a PlayStation 1.
No, I mean, even if you just play 2-player, like it shortened the field down.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You
can only get like 8 cars, but if you played by yourself, I guess it's because whatever memory that they had to use to get the controls and everything for 2 players. But you could play like a whole 35-man race.
You can play like Jeff Gordon and
Terry Labonte, baby. He wasn't fast, but he had great control.
Mark Martin.
And he drove the Kellogg's car, which was a really colorful car that I liked.
What else did we used to play those multiplayer, man? I think Halo was probably by far the most that we ever played multiplayer-wise, because we had 4 TVs hooked up.
That was Halo 2, wasn't it?
That was both of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it was Halo. It was the first Halo with the Stampers. We used to go over there all the time. And then the second Halo, that's when we really started. That's when you got the Xboxes. Mm-hmm. And we started playing at the house because we was having a LAN party, and Mom told me to go get a small TV with my Christmas money. And it was really the last year that they was making like box TVs. And I got that like 55-inch box television that had been on display for like, I think it was like $25 or something like that. It was super cheap. And I put that thing in there, and Mom was like, I told you a small TV. And I was like, Mom, this one was like $300 cheaper than the small TV. So, hey, that TV got a lot of use, man.
It did get a lot of use. That was a good TV for a long time.
With NCAA and all that. We got a lot of use.
Yeah, it was one of the box TVs that had the flat screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God, TV. Those things still go for a bit because retro games look really good on them, obviously.
And lugging it up the stairs, man.
Yeah, as you and what Kip was looking up. I don't think I helped that time. I think I laughed at you guys, but
because that was the second time Mom got mad at me because I bought a bigger piece of furniture than what I should have because I bought that table for a computer desk that time.
Yeah, that was kind of ridiculous.
Hey, I had dual monitors, man.
All right.
Hey, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So are either of you guys interested in getting an NES Classic?
I own all the NES games that I want. So none of that, and I have a Retron 5, which is HDMI, save state, all that stuff. So, and for me to have, I like collecting physical media, so I it's cool looking. Like if I found one for sale or something, I'd probably pick it up. But it doesn't interest me enough to run out and be all crazy about it.
Yeah, I'm assuming no for Joe as well.
I mean, the games that I would play on there are already out in HD anyway, like Mega Man and stuff. So, I mean, there's no point in me. I wouldn't mind to play maybe the old Mario game on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if anything else.
And I don't mean to trash it. I think it's a really cool system, and Nintendo actually did it right versus the those Genesis little collection things that are basically paper. I think that they did it right, and I'm glad Nintendo did it right. But I can get those games, or I had those games at one point, and my Nintendo collection went from like over 100 to 20 because 20 is really all I wanted. So, and 6 of those are Mega Man games.
So here's my question. There's been a huge shortage for them, right? So I was asking because I didn't know if you guys were, fighting that crazy market to try to get one. I don't care. I think the games I have on Virtual Console for the 3DS or the Wii U, so there's no reason for me to worry about it. But there's this crazy shortage, right? And so Nintendo's come out and said, yeah, we underestimated the demand for it, which I just don't believe. Personally, I just don't believe. And I had this discussion with a group of friends earlier today, or not earlier this week, rather. And it seems like to me Nintendo's got this tactic of creating demand for their product by intentionally making less, or maybe even not even just making less, but releasing less than they anticipate needing. That way there's a bigger frenzy for it. It worked for them with Amiibo. Like I own, I think 6 Amiibo, and that's 6 more than I would own if they hadn't created that frenzy for it. Or at least 4 more, because I probably still would have bought like Sheik and Samus. And that classic Mario one's pretty cool. But anyway, if they hadn't created such a demand for it by not releasing many of them, I'm not sure I would have bothered. I'm just curious what you guys think about that. It seems like kind of a dirty tactic, but I mean, that's just kind of business at the same time.
I think it's weird.
I don't know.
I think it's weird. You know, John Ball was having a discussion. Somebody sent an email to the Beastcast. You know, and Nintendo's so trying to keep. I guess play by their own rules per se. But when you see things go for $500-$600, and people are actually buying these things at $300 and $400, if you're Nintendo, and I guess we talk about Nintendo living in their own bubble or whatever, I just don't understand. I'm with you, Andrew. I don't understand how that company that has been so successful can kind of, when they say stuff like that, I feel like they're saying it with a sly smile, like, "Oh, we didn't know, oh, we didn't know this was going to be so popular. We're so surprised.
My bad.
You're Nintendo." So now, what upsets me about it is that people that really wanted Nintendo could give them at the $60 price point is now having to go to eBay and buy them for. Listen, and if you want one, just wait. I guarantee you more is coming. Don't go to eBay and buy it for $400. So I'm more upset because Nintendo has perpetrated this scalpers reseller market that is just taking advantage of it. And I feel like Nintendo, you should have released more of these, and now we've got these scumbag resellers that's not trying to sell them for $600.
Whoa, let's not call people names now. Looking back, I'd like to get one just have like a Tecmo Bowl tournament.
Well, it's not the right Tecmo Bowl because they put the first Tecmo Bowl in there.
Yeah, so you still play.
The Super Tecmo Bowl is the best because it's got all the player names and stuff.
That's true.
And the registered name and the team.
Well, just wait on the SNES Classic. So here's my second question, because that's happening. Here's my second question: is do you think that they will do this with the Switch? Intentionally, because it has to be intentional. Like there are people who go to college to do this kind of thing. They can't be that wrong that many times, right? So it has to be on purpose. And if it is on purpose, then
the thing with
do you think they'll do it with the Switch?
The thing with the Switch is that it's actually a new piece of hardware. So I could see them, whether they did it on purpose or not, I could believe them more if they're like, hey man, this is all we can make it for launch date. This is it. Sorry, we'll have more out. That's fine. But this is literally a shell of a Nintendo, a miniature shell, and a Raspberry Pi. So you can't tell me that they couldn't get those parts in mass quantities and put them all out at the same time. I can believe it the Switch because it's a brand new piece of hardware. But this is just an emulation machine that Nintendo put together. It's awesome. And they did it right, minus the short cord apparently. It was like, 13 inches or whatever it is.
Hey, they're just reminding people of the pains that we used to have to go through.
That's true. They're really bringing nostalgia back with those short cords.
Except your TV looks really bad if you sit close to it now.
It's hard. It's hard for me to believe that they couldn't get those. I mean, I could go on eBay right now and buy a Raspberry Pi in bulk. As far as what there's sites that I know that I can buy emulation stuff in bulk to make my own carts if I wanted to, like repro cards. So it's not that hard for Nintendo to get those. So I could believe it more with the Switch because of what it is, but I can't believe that with the NES Mini.
Well, see, I think they're, like I said, because I believe they're doing it on purpose. I don't know if they would do it with the Switch because it sure seems like there's going to be a market there. I don't think they have to artificially create a market for that so that people rush out to get it because it's low or it's rare and we got to get it.
Right.
I think with the Switch, I think it would hurt them because if they only released a couple, I don't know, thousands and out of like the 6,000 that people that got it, 3,000 didn't like it. I mean, that's going to put bad publicity out there. The more you release, the more people's going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't hurt them with the Wii. I mean, the Wii was, you couldn't find a Wii.
Although they might have actually underestimated how popular that was going to be. Like, they might have actually been wrong about that one. I could believe that because of how popular it was. They didn't do it with the Wii U, but it was so wildly unpopular that I don't know if that's a good example either.
What do you think the Wii U will cause them not? Because, I mean, they had a bunch of, I mean, even at launch, they had a bunch in a warehouse. I mean, it was well documented how much was just kind of hanging around. Do you think that's kind of stopped them possibly to be like, let's not put too many out there. Let's not look like a bunch of dummies. And let's see how this goes first?
No, because I don't think the Wii U had the game titles that was going to be released with it like the Switch will.
No, that's true. We hope anyway.
Yeah, we hope, but I mean, with speculation, I think they're going to have some good game titles.
It just makes me nervous that they're not going to. It's going to be hard to get one, and I'm going to end up wanting one. So I'm just nervous about that. Is really why I'm asking.
I mean, we want to camp out together.
And I'm just going to hope to get on an Amazon pre-order real early.
I mean, I think I probably already. I've never pre-ordered a console, never have. But I think at this one, I think I'm going to pre-order it. I got Christmas. I'll have some Christmas money. I got a little bit of money left for my birthday, so I think I'll probably put a pre-order on it. And I don't do that. Like, I don't do a lot of pre-order stuff unless there's some kind of bonus that I really want, which is very rare. Mostly for wrestling games, which I have held off on this one. I've held off on WWE, which I'm very proud of myself for. I'll probably put a. I know I wrote a scathing article about pre-orders, and I'm going back on that, but I'll probably pre-order Switch because it's pretty cool.
Hey, the only reason why I pre-ordered WWE was because of Goldberg. Okay,
I know, and they almost, it's like, we need to get Aaron. We're gonna put Goldberg as a pre-order. They did everything. I know that's what they did.
And you know what they did? You know, they released an NXT pack, and I have the season pass. I bought the season pass instead of buying that pack. Yeah. The pack's not included in the season pass. So
that's cheap.
Yeah. So I was like, really? I'm going to have to buy this pack? And I bought the season pass already. So
wasn't there a game that I think it was Final Fantasy 15 that didn't include, it was a big pre-order that didn't include the season pass? Have you seen this?
No.
Like, the pre-order is like $150 or whatever. It comes with a statue and all this cool, but it doesn't come with the DLC. It doesn't come with the season pass.
How much is the season pass going to be?
I don't know. Probably $30-$40, I guess.
You know what? One game I really want, but I hate the way they're doing it right now, is I really want to play a new Hitman game.
Let me tell you something about the Hitman. I think you'd really like it because I thought about getting it too. The Giant Bomb guys have played that since it's come out, and they said that the season format has really helped because you play a little bit of it and you're like, oh, this is cool Hitman, and then it comes out a little bit more, more cool Hitman. And it breaks it up a little bit.
Breaks it up.
Let's be quite honest, the Hitman games, you kind of know what you're going to do. And they've also done those like they'll throw out stuff like, here's your daily hit. You got 24 hours to get this guy or whatever.
Well, see, they was not even do that with the whole game when they was bringing it out. That they was going to do like 24-hour missions only. And you only had that 24 hours to do it or that mission away. So they're still doing that.
They're still doing that. They've already announced season 2 and 3. Possibly 3. They've already announced season 2. So I thought about maybe looking in on it, but seems like those guys have had a lot of fun with it. So I trust those guys' opinions because they can be brutally honest with a game. So they said it was pretty fun. I
think that'd be a fun game to play. Like, I know, like have you ever played a Hitman game before?
No, I haven't.
Like I said, you know what you do in the Hitman games. They're fun.
It's called Hitman. So
yeah. So if I think it'd be fun to kind of break up if I'm playing a lot of one game, like I'm gonna go play Hitman and then play Hitman mission and then come back and start playing again.
That's how they kind of felt. It's like a good breakup between things that they were already playing. Mm-hmm. So it almost seems like they took the Hitman Go thing and kind of expanded it because Hitman Go was like an award-winning game when they put it out, and they sold a ton. And I think they took the concept of Hitman Go and kind of put it in a broader episodic sense, episodic sense, I should say.
So I know you said something earlier when I first jumped on about them putting a Pokemon game out for the Switch. What game are they putting out?
What's it called, Andrew?
The rumor is that, and it's a substantiated rumor. It's not just someone making crap up. Is that the third installment of Sun and Moon will be coming to the Switch, and it'll be called Pokemon Stars.
All right.
What it really is a basketball game, and you play with the Pokemon All Stars. That's what it really is going to be.
That kind of reminds me, and this is random, but going back to our co-op games that we were talking about, Mario Soccer.
Mario Soccer was
Strikers.
Good. Yeah, Strikers.
Yeah, Mario Strikers. Yeah, and Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis, yes, sir. Especially for the 64, that was really good. All right, yeah, but the NES Mini, don't buy it. Don't buy it until it comes out again. I swear it's going to come out. Believe me. Like Nintendo is printing money with those. So please.
Speaking of those again, because I forgot to bring it up when you were talking about it before. How much money do you think they're making on those? Because I would bet it's more than 50% of the $60.
Because that Raspberry Pi stuff is like not even $15. It's an emulation machine. That's all it is.
A power cord, a small power supply, HDMI port, some plastic. There's not a whole lot to it.
There's not a ton to it. No.
They got $220 off of me, and I got about $1,600 off somebody else. Suck up! Just kidding, not really. Can you dig it?
I just hate when and I know I know it's a way of the world here. Some people want something really bad, so people are going to buy it up and get 6 pre-orders and double, triple, quadruple their money. Don't buy them, man. Just wait. Be patient.
I mean, it happens with everything, though, not just games.
I know it happens, and I guess this is where I've collected retro games for the past 5 years, 6 years. I see these things go up, and Super Nintendo games are almost ridiculously expensive. More so, everything I've got on my back shelf is worth double. Basically, I wouldn't pay for what it's going for now if I was collecting, and it's just people get these games, they jack them up, and same things happen with the Mini. They're getting them and they're jacking them up, and people are buying them. And I know you want one. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to introduce your kids to super, the NES games that you don't have to run out and buy a Nintendo for, and it's more modern. It looks good on HDTV. But just gotta hold your horses a little bit, man.
Blame the hipsters.
Blame the hipsters.
They're causing everything to go up.
No joke. I did read a forum post, and so we was talking about the prices for Super Nintendo, and he was like, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean to use this as I'm not making fun of anybody. Well, maybe I am, but he was like, for lack of a better term, he's like, he said that, the hipster generation has money to spend now, and now they're going back because N64 stuff is starting to go up, way up, and because that's what they grew up with. So now the N64 is the hot system, or the Super Nintendo is the hot system to buy for. So it's just kind of saying, hey, look what I got, kind of thing. I've got money, and this is what I want to spend it on.
Like, I'm happy because, with my collection, I don't collect games. I collect vinyl records. And it's causing, the mom and pop shops and stuff to stay open because people are going in and buying. But, man, they're driving the price up on everything. Like, the records that I really want, like the old ones, I can't get anymore because I can't afford them.
Well, same thing with the games. I mean, there's some games I really want Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen, I think is what the name of it is. Oh, yeah. The game's $100, and that's at my local store, which is a good shop, but it goes for almost $200 online, and I just refuse to pay for it. To be quite honest, I told my wife a long time ago I'll never buy Earthbound, and she bought it for me for Valentine's Day, which was awesome. Because that game will always be expensive at this point. But some of those games I want a game for the Sega Saturn now that I saw go from $80 in the past 6 months to $280. I mean, it's just, I'm not even joking about that. Like, you can't even get a good bid on it. But it's just, it is what it is. I mean, it's great people want to play these games, but it's also one of those things where people that aren't really want to play the games are snatching these things up and selling them for a long time. And I know a lot of really good stores that do a really good job, and we know when you talk about Two Dudes Gaming, those guys, that's what they do, and it's awesome. They give us good prices, and they're fair. They're not $200 above eBay or anything like that. So it is cool that you're seeing a lot more retro video game shops open up, and if you're a good owner, you don't jack up your prices. But it's the people on eBay that's making it hard even for those guys to get a hold of some of that stuff, because they're scooping it up. So.
But it makes it where we used to have to go in the game stores, and the only body odor that we used to have to worry about were like the Magic card players. And then now you got these hipsters coming in, and their body odor because they don't take showers or use deodorant, or they're occupying Wall Street and they're coming in from that. I mean, oh Lord.
Well, Joe's just offended pretty much three listening, the whatever listeners that play Magic. Thanks, Joe.
I'm kidding. I used to play Magic, guys. I'm kidding. But really, use some deodorant. That's a tight space, people.
You're terrible.
Tight space.
Be quiet now, okay? Be quiet. We're losing listeners because of you right now.
Tight space, people.
Oh, I should have just let the podcast go without you, Don. All right, guys.
They know I love them.
What'd you say?
I said they know that I love them.
Well, they love you back.
Everybody. I love
as far as hate mail. Remember, send that to Joe at monstersofgeek.com. Yeah, so that's it for tonight. Guys, you guys anything else you guys say? We went all over the place now. I will take the blame for being totally underprepared for this podcast. I didn't have much subject, but I think we did pretty good about throwing darts on the wall here.
I didn't even know about it.
Well, I sent the message out. But yeah, Andrew, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
So I was just wonder trading while we were doing this because it's just like tap, tap, tap.
Explain wonder trading.
Wonder trading is it's good you asked me to do that. People have been like, what's this dude talking about? So wonder trading is you give up a random Pokemon and it's like a blind trade basically. You give up something and you just get something random back. And 99% of the time you get trash back just because that's how that works. People send trash, you receive trash because it's a blind trade. So you never see the person again, whatever. And I was in fact sending trash as well just to see what I would get. And I got a Magikarp, and Magikarp of course is the butt of every good Pokemon joke. Mm-hmm. And the Pokedex entry for this generation says that something, and I can't look it up right now, but it says basically that the reckless flailing that it does makes it an easy target for predators. As a result, this leads to a long life expectancy for other Pokemon, thanks to Magikarp. Brutal.
Poor Magikarp. Poor guy. They should make him like super powerful one game. Just make him just like a Super Saiyan Magikarp.
Well, that's what Gyarados is.
But
is that like the Mega Evolution or whatever?
It evolves into something pretty awesome, yeah.
If it lives long enough.
Oh yeah, you have to train it up, and there's an experience share thing or mechanic to it that you can turn on, and then you can have it in your party, and anything you defeat, it gets the experience or half of the experience that it would get if it were in the fight, and you can basically just carry it around until it turns into Gyarados, and then you have something that's actually useful.
Nice.
What was I going to say? I can't remember now. Oh, wasn't there like a Star Wars meme where Magikarp was the fish-looking dude in the Star Wars that blew up?
Admiral Akbar.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a meme with that. But
all right, Joe, I would ask you if you have anything else to say.
I do.
You've alienated a quarter of our audience.
I have something to say. I want to apologize to those that I may have offended with my rant about body odor and hipsters and Magic players. I love you all, but I do apologize from the bottom of my heart. I do.
Joe continuing to drive a wedge between the geek population. We want to bring people together, Joe.
There's no wedge. I used to play Magic. There's no wedge, baby. No wedge. There's no wedge. I am like the Charles Barkley of geekdom. All
Okay,
right.
we'll just leave it at that before
That's,
you
that's not a
continue.
positive, but okay.
I was wondering when he was about to point out. I was like, Andrew, point this out here in a minute. I'm the one.
I love Chuck, but that's not a positive.
Hey, Chuck brings everybody together, and then he alienates the women of San Antonio.
Oh. All right. And that'll be it for episode 32 of the Monsters of Geek podcast. Andrew, thank you for coming on and bringing some topics. Joe, thank you for coming on and alienating all of our audience.
I love y'all.
And I'm not even going to ask what you just said because I don't want to know. And that'll be it for this episode 32. Remember, go to iTunes, Spreaker.com, and also Stitcher. Go favorite us and subscribe or whatever that those sites do. And don't forget to check out monstersgeek.com. Daniel will have a piece up next week that I need to edit, and we'll have some more stuff. We're trying to get the articles back up since we'll have our end of list and best of list for 2016 and all that good stuff as well coming out in December. So don't forget to check that out. But go check out monstergeek.com. I'm sure there's an article you'll really enjoy. So for Andrew, for Joe, I'm your editor-in-chief, Aaron, and we are out.
Catch them all.